Do you have any favourite Christian authors? Are there any Christian writers who have been a particular blessing to you? Maybe more than that. Maybe they have really inspired you. You may even have some titles that you have read that you would say have really helped you make forward progress or even marked a turning point in your life. I'm sure there are many people who've read C.S. Lewis's classic Mere Christianity who would testify that book, reading that book, really marked a particular turning point in their life. Well, I'd like to talk about one author who wrote a long time ago, and he's really blessed me. He's very easy to read, but very challenging and inspiring. And I'd encourage people to be still reading his books today because they're so helpful, and that is Oswald J Smith. Oswald J Smith was born in 1889. He got saved at 16. He went on to pastor several churches in Canada, the best known being the People's Church in Toronto. And he became not just a pastor, but a great missions advocate. He did some missionary work himself, but that church really was a big giver to missions, and they sent out missionaries. And so he was very much on the front line as a statesman for missions, very highly respected. He died in 1986. And Billy Graham actually conducted his memorial service, and Billy Graham said that Oswald J Smith was the most remarkable man he had ever met. When a biography was written about him, it was appropriately titled Fire in His Bones, and you do pick that up when you read his books. So the first one I ever read was back in 1988, The Challenge of Missions, and this is a real stirrer. This will really get you going in regard to missions. He believed that the supreme task of the church was world evangelization and was very passionate about that. He's got chapter titles such as How God Called Me to a Worldwide Ministry, Are We Winning the Battle Against Heathenism? Why has the church failed to evangelize the world? How God Taught Me to Give to Missions, and so on. This is a really, really great little title. A lot of these books were written between the 1930s and the 1950s, but they are still very good and very hard-hitting today. Just some other titles, The Challenge of Life. This one, The Man God Uses. My personal favourite, The Revival We Need. Oh, if every pastor and preacher could read this book, tremendous book with a big, strong emphasis on prayer. The Work God Blesses, The Endowment of Power. And he would just come out and say things that really were quite confronting and get you thinking. I'll just read to you a short quote. This is just typical of Oswald Smith. He says, "Oh, how we need discernment in these days of apostasy and fanaticism. How busy Satan is giving counterfeit experiences and gifts. How easy it is to be deceived. There is so much of the flesh in our meetings, so much that is not of the Holy Ghost, so much that is spurious, that if ever we needed a spirit of discernment, we need it today." Well, he wrote that a long time ago, but that's still a message we need to hear now. So I would highly recommend the writings of Oswald J Smith, a man who truly did have fire in his bones.